Here we'll have the technique for the tubular long tail cast on. This is great if you want a particularly stretchy edge to your piece, and it's great for 1x1 ribbing. And we'll start with that technique, and then if you actually are after a 2x2, we just adapt the technique as we go. So we'll be able to do both with this same technique. So let's start by popping our slip knot along the yarn length. Pop it there. Okay, there's our first stitch. Congratulations. And pop our needle through. Okay, so we've got the long tail yarn closest to us and the ball yarn towards the back. Okay, so here we are going to, similarly to the standard long tail cast on, take the technique of your pinched fingers through those two pieces of yarn. Your other three fingers will catch them to hold them into place. Okay, then we're going to open up our fingers and we've got this nice sort of triangular shape here. So we'll keep our hands face this way rather than the other technique, the long tail. I usually turn my palm up. So let's just keep our palms face down. We're going to alternate a pearl cast on stitch with a knit cast on stitch. And that's for the 1-to-1, 1x1 ribbing. So pearl, knit, pearl, knit. The pearl starts by moving up to your index yarn first. So let's do that. Your right hand needle is going to move under that index yarn and then catch the thumb yarn under and then keep going under the index yarn again. And here we have it. There's the stitch. Okay, so that's a pearl. Let's get back into position. We're going to just do the same thing but opposite for the knit cast on. We're going to start with the thumb. So we're going to go under the thumb and then hook and catch under the index, but keep going under the thumb again and bring it through. And now that's given us more of a knit looking cast on stitch. We're going to go back to the index cast on again. So let's go under the index and then under the thumb, keep going under the index again, and we've created our pearl. Let's go again to do our knit stitch, which heads towards the thumb first. Under the thumb, under the index, and then under the thumb again. Here we go. One more for the pearl. Under the index, catch under the thumb, keep going under the index. There we have it. So that was the pearl. Let's go back to a knit stitch. So we start with the thumb, index, keep swinging under, and there we have it. I'm just going to do a few more of those as we go. Knit, swing under again and through. Now pearl, go under the index, under thumb, and a knit, start at the bottom, and then a pearl, and then a knit. Okay, let me just count how many I've got there. Okay, I actually have one too many than I wanted, so I'll finish there. Right, now if we take a look at these, it does look a little bit wonky, but trust me, it's all good. You can start to see the alternating rib pearl, knit pearl, knit pearl, knit pearl there. Okay, so now we've done that cast on row, we actually need to do 2 foundation rows. So I'm going to turn this work. We just need to make sure this last stitch holds in place. It tends to want to unravel. So now here we're starting with a knit. What we need to do here is align the knit stitches to look more like knit stitches. At the moment, they sort of look like half knit stitches. Let's do that by, rather than knitting into the first stitch, we're actually going to knit into the back of it. All of the knit stitches, actually. So let's knit into the back of that. That's a hard one because it sort of wants to unravel, so just be careful on pulling everything as it should. Okay, so we've knitted that one. And now when it comes to the pearls on this foundation row, we don't actually want to knit to purl them. We're just going to bring the yarn in front and slip them, all of them. Okay, so now we're going to knit the next stitch, but knit through the back of the stitch. And then we're going to bring the yarn in front and then just slip the pearl off. Okay, knitting into the back. And then slipping the pearl off, knitting into the back. Purling. And I'll just get to the end of the row, and then we will have one more foundation row to do to get ourselves set up perfectly. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to turn that again, and we're starting to get more of a feel for the ribbing. Now this final setup row is even simpler. We are going to knit the knits properly. There we go. And then the pearls, we're just going to slip them one more time along the entire length of this row. So knitting the knit stitches as usual, and then slipping the pearls with the yarn in front. And that will give us our foundation row. Okay, so that is it for the 1 by 1. What you will notice is how beautifully the edge, the cast on edge, sort of rolls into itself. It's a very smooth finish, and that's going to be super stretchy. Now, if you're wanting to create a 2 by 2, we just work from here. So let's continue as if we're making a 2 by 2 rib. This is just pure magic. Okay, so what we're going to do is knit that first stitch. Let me get my yarn tail out of the way. Okay, we're going to knit that first stitch. And because our 2 by 2 is 2 knits, 2 pearls, oops. I've got a purl next. I don't want the purl next, I want the knit next. So you're going to knit this stitch. So it's next in line, but you've got this purl in the way. So let's just pull them off, but we need to make sure that purl back there doesn't get lost and gets threaded back onto the needle. I'm splitting my wool a little, there we go. There's another way to do that, which I'll show you in a sec. So now we've got 2 pearls next to each other and 2 knits next to each other. That's what we want. So let's purl the next 2. Great, 2 knits, 2 pearls. Now we have to do that again. I'll just show you another method if that looked a little bit messy. So we can knit that one, and now we want to knit this one, but why don't we just take both of these stitches off, rearrange the order, slip the pearl on, slip the knit on, and then we can just go ahead and knit that. That might be a bit easier. So now we've knit two, we've got 2 pearls there. There we go. So it's just a little bit of a manual work for your fingers to reorder things, but trust me, the end effect is going to be magnificent. So let's wiggle these off, change the order. So the pearls are next to each other, the knits are next to each other, knit, and then purl these 2. Okay. So, oops, okay. So now we've got beginnings of a 2x2 with that beautiful rolled stretchy edge, and then you can just carry on your 2x2 purl as you were.